Hi, my name's Laura Heary and welcome to blog 2 on what I believe my professional identity is. Lightfoot and Frost explored the question, what is professional identity, in their research paper. They believed that it's not a standalone attribute, but rather an intertwined combination of different aspects. The role we undertake cannot be separated from our personal characteristics, and that's what makes every early years practitioner an individual. I believe this to be a true explanation of professional identity and feel it makes for a varied and exciting early years workforce. Over the years, my professional identity has adapted and grown with each role that I've progressed to. Throughout my career, I've been a nursery nurse, a room leader, a deputy manager, and I'm currently employed as a level 3 teaching assistant in a busy inner city primary school. I've not only had to adapt due to changes in my roles or responsibilities, but to also take into consideration the needs of the families and children within my care in different areas. By adapting and reflecting on my practice, I was able to provide the best level of care and opportunities for those children in my setting, and this is an important part of the Early Years Foundation Stage framework. When I first completed my BTEC National Diploma, I went straight into a nursery setting and worked in the 0 to 2 room. Reflecting on my practice now allows me to identify how far I've come throughout my career. Although I was good at my job, I was very unconfident and felt unable to communicate any ideas or concerns I had with senior members of staff due to the title of my job role. I now feel confident in the knowledge that I possess, spanning over several years of experience, and have a level of understanding in my sector that ideas I put forward will have a positive effect on the children in my care. Whilst working in Australia, due to the level of my qualification and how that transpired over there, I was given the title of pre-kindergarten teacher. I was employed by an agency and so had to make sure on a daily basis I was organised and adaptable to each setting. Due to the level of my qualification, I was a more senior member of staff and there were times where I had to make decisions based on my role, even though I was only in the setting for a short period of time. I gained masses of confidence in taking on this role and feel that being somewhere different every day really helped me secure the way I wanted to work with children and gave me a real understanding of my professional identity. It also meant I had to interact with a number of new staff, children and parents on a daily basis and do this also almost immediately on entering the setting. Although at first I found this quite challenging, being away from home and having a different childcare system, I quickly found that the knowledge and previous experience I had already gained was more than transferable. In one setting in particular, where I was asked to fulfil a long-term placement, myself and other members of staff sat down and compared practice between the UK and Australia and looked how to implement some of the practices that I had exhibited. One of the major points in my career came when a setting I worked in acquired a new nursery, and the two nurseries merged to make one. As I was employed as a room leader in the 2 to 3 room, it was my job to ensure the smooth transition for both sets of staff, parents and children in each setting. At first, the staff from the other setting were very unwilling to cooperate due to the number of changes that would be taking place for them. Many of the staff were employed there either had no qualifications or little experience in working with children and were informed that this would have to change to reflect the ethos of the setting, which took advice from Nut Brown's review in wanting to employ highly qualified and knowledgeable staff. I arranged team meetings with the staff to discuss worries and concerns and was able to relay these to management so a solution could be agreed. As a room leader, I was able to offer support to the staff whilst undertaking training in the form of mentoring and providing support on the curriculum that the organisation provided. Working in the setting with both qualified and unqualified staff meant that I had to explore my own style of leadership and adapt this accordingly. The takeover was also difficult due to the confusion between the professional and friendly relationships in the setting. The staff found this particularly difficult with the reorganisation of the rooms was put into place, and as a room leader, I faced conflict from the staff that had been put with me. Once again, we explored this in team meetings and found ways to help resolve this issue. During my time in this senior role, I was also asked to conduct interviews to employ new staff and to sit in on disciplinary meetings. Although this was an unpleasant experience, I feel it helped me greatly decide on how I will tackle these issues, which was definitely different from how they were conducted at the time. One of the main challenges I face on a daily basis is the amount of work I have to fit in such a short day. As our class is a 2-form entry reception class, I work alongside 2 other teachers and another teaching assistant. Earlier this year, the teaching assistant that's currently in reception was moved from a class in year 2, which she really didn't want to do. The class teacher then went on maternity leave, and we now have 2 part-time teachers covering her absence. It's quite hard to work with someone who doesn't want to be there, and although she's very vocal about this, and I have had conversations with her to see if there's anything I can do, she still finds ways to leave the reception class, and it can be rather frustrating. Having 2 teachers, although they oversee the other class, is also quite challenging, as there's a lack of communication between the 2, so it's up to myself and the teacher in our class to relay as much information as possible. As the teaching assistant has little interest in being there, it also means they rely on us for information about their children, which we aren't always sure on. So we've tried to come up with some ways to help aid this. And I'm hoping that from September, when we employ a new TA, they're more professional and we can get back to really being a team. Another one of the ways in which my professional identity has developed is after having children myself. I developed a deeper understanding of not only what children require from me, but also parents. Having children has allowed me to see things from another perspective, which has really developed my relationships with parents in the setting I'm currently in. I understand their concerns and worries, and I'm able to reassure them on these with regards to their child, safe in the knowledge that I know where they're coming from. As a practitioner, I believe that children learn best through having positive role models, and they are all given equal opportunities to access all of the curriculum. As a teaching assistant, I'm hoping the work I do is helping narrow the gap in those children that have language and communication difficulties that were identified in the Better Communication Research Programme. By implementing knowledge that I've recently gained on training courses I've attended and applying these into my intervention timetable, I've already seen a big improvement of those children accessing the interventions. I see the next steps in my career to take on the role as an early years teacher. The setting I'm in have already said they will support me to do this and are more than willing to employ me whilst I undertake my teacher training. I'd also really like to complete my forest school training, as I feel this is definitely an area I would like to incorporate into children's learning opportunities.